Hey guys, I'm learning TFT and I'm sharing my learnings with you so that you can learn and I can learn better as well. In this video, I'm sharing a coaching session with Broseph where we talked about how to improve at TFT. We went through a bunch of questions I had about studying, study process, tournament prep, efficiency of learning, a bunch of stuff related to the process of how to improve at TFT that hopefully you will benefit from. If you'd like to jump straight to that coaching session, take a look at the timestamp in the description below. In the meantime, I'm going to do a meta mindset. This is a psychological, philosophical section about how to get better at TFT from a mental standpoint, but also these ideas should be able to extend to your life, being able to use TFT as a metaphor for life. So today's meta mindset of the day is stability before speed. I want to talk about this because lately I feel like I've been a little bit unstable, a little bit imbalanced. And you can also think about these ideas from a TFT standpoint of finding kind of balance, especially at 2-1. There are a seemingly almost infinite number of directions that you could take, uh, number of decisions that you could take. And so, really being able to find your center, calm yourself, and have a strong anchor and making a decision peacefully, calmly, with strength, as opposed to very frantically kind of like making decisions in a jarring, uh, unstable manner, right? So once you are able to get that stability and firm footing, that's when you can accelerate into your line selection and have confidence in that decision, as opposed to being imbalanced and doing everything a little bit like kind of off, in which case you set your game up for just a lot more of a suboptimal situation. So first idea here, let me bring this image in. Lao Tzu, in the Tao Te Ching, said, "To clarify muddy waters, you must hold them still and let things settle. To glimpse the secret of the Tao, you must keep still and quiet your mind." This is definitely relevant for me when I get really stressed out, or like if I'm trying to qualify for a tournament, or I'm maybe after the first game of a tournament that I didn't perform well. The thoughts, for me at least, can really go a little bit wild. And the key insight here is really to, if you think about a muddy pond or something, or like a snow globe that's like kind of shaken up, uh, the way to be able to see through the water is not to keep shaking. It's really to calm down and be still. And the hard part is when our minds start to like kind of go out of control. We get really worked up in our minds of going on tilt. The solution in those situations is not to just keep flying off the handle, keep thinking and blame someone, right? In those situations, the best thing you can do is actually to take a deep breath and be still. And notice your thoughts, notice the sensations in your body. And once you're able to actually settle down, your brain's actually able to operate in a more efficient manner again. In psychology, it's actually, there's a metaphor of flipping your lid. The prefrontal cortex is the part of your brain that does rational thinking. And when your brain goes into fight or flight mode and you are really angry or frustrated, uh, whatever it is, you're in a heightened state of emotion. It's basically like your prefrontal cortex has disconnected, and your limbic system, the old part of your brain that evolved, is very emotional and not acting in a rational way. Ideally, the rational center of your brain is connected to the emotional center of your brain, and it's the teamwork between those two that allows you to make optimal decisions. But when things are muddy, you really want to take a deep breath and slow down as opposed to speed up. And one of my biggest challenges lately is, as things have gotten more muddy, I want to speed up. And so, really, it's this idea of stability and calm and balance before the speed that's really important. Bertrand Russell said, when conscious activity is wholly concentrated on some one definite purpose, the ultimate result for most people is lack of balance accompanied by some form of nervous disorder. This happens to me sometimes when I get overattached to something. In the past, that was work. More recently, sometimes this is TFT for me. And so sometimes we think like, oh, if we don't keep on doing this thing that we've set our goal on, then we're going to fall behind or other people are getting an advantage over us. But what's actually true from my experience, and it's still hard for me because like rationally I get this, but emotionally it doesn't, it feels very hard to actually convince myself of this in the moment, is that when you spend all of your waking hours on one thing, you lose the context of the bigger picture of why you're doing what you're doing, the context of what's truly important. It's like someone that has lost the forest from the trees or is in so deep into the weeds on something that they don't even realize what's happening around them. It reminds me also of there's this gif of a boy that was probably in like 2 feet of water, but he was like kind of floating here, but he like was frantically flailing because he thought he was drowning. And that happens when you're so locked in, like with blinders on this one thing, that it is hard to keep things in context. And so that's what Bertrand Russell's saying here is if you become too focused on one thing and you don't have balance in your life, you're not exercising, you're not hanging out with friends or family, because actually there's a lot of research that shows social interaction is extremely important for mental health. When you don't have a hobby, you don't have an outlet for some of these frustrations, you don't have new sources of creativity and inspiration other than the thing that you are solely focused on, then inevitably you result in some kind of like breakdown or burnout of some form. And I think that's in some ways what has happened to me lately. This is something that I've like kind of gone on and off on, and I've still been learning. But if you feel like you are in the place where maybe you are also just too focused on one thing, it seems counterintuitive in that moment, especially from an impulsive standpoint of like wanting to get better at that one thing. A lot of times it's actually the loosening your grip of that and like going out and touching the grass, getting some exercise, mixing things up. I talked to yesterday about a meta mindset of like new perspectives, right? You might actually make more progress on getting to where you want to go with the thing that you're trying to do if you actually let go and do something else. So that's a key aspect of balance here. All right, overthinking. Nietzsche said, up if you want to get to the peak, you ought to climb without giving it too much thought. A lot of times when we set ourselves a goal to get to the top of a mountain, we can become so obsessed with that thing and overthinking like, okay, what do I need to do next? What's the vision? What's the path? Constantly thinking day in and day out about like where it is that we want to go, that we can overwhelm ourselves with thinking too much about that thing. And then a side effect of thinking too much about it is we can start to overburden ourselves with emotions around like, oh, I'm not there yet, or oh, I just had a setback, or oh, I lost this game, I just lost a bunch of LP, right? The better formula, Nietzsche argues, is if you really want to get to that peak that maybe you haven't ever gotten to before, take it a step at a time. Be present. Let go of the past. Don't focus too much about the future. Be present. Put one foot in front of the other. Take it a day at a time. And eventually, that gives you the best shot of getting there. The poet Rumi said, the quieter you become, the more you are able to hear. And this is similar to Lao Tzu's statement that a lot of times when we have our mind is racing, we have constant thoughts going on in our heads, it can be hard to really make sense of it all. It almost becomes like this Gordian knot that's like almost impossible to like take apart. And it's also like there's research at the supermarket where if you are trying to buy something, let's say cereal or a snack, if there are too many options on the shelf, the research shows that you actually become so paralyzed that you can't act anymore. And so in a situation where you're overthinking about like, oh, should I have done this? Should I have done that? And that can definitely happen in a TFT game. Or you're being self-critical after a game about like, oh, I did all of these things wrong. The best way out in that situation is actually to let things be still, to calm down, to be still, right? Uh, and one way I found that helps with that is actually to journal or to write and to just dump out your thoughts. And that's also partly why I want to kind of bring back this meta mindset, is because I find that this is actually a way that I can do that. Talking is also a way to do this. And I know it's saying quieter, but like basically dumping out your thoughts is one way that I found, like writing especially, to be able to like release it from my mind. And then for sure for me, like meditating as well helps with that. All right. And then excessive motion. Alfred Montepert said, "Do not confuse motion and progress. A rocking horse keeps moving, but does not make any progress." And this has for sure happened many times in my life where I feel like, oh, I just need to, if I'm not actually getting to where I want to go, I'm just like, I just need to work harder. I need to run harder. I need to do more. I need to blah, 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 like the overthinking, right? And the key idea here is don't confuse motion and progress. Just because you keep on doing more and more and more doesn't mean you're actually getting closer to the thing you want to get to. I'm reminded of like, if you're rowing a boat, rowing faster is not going to get you where you want to go if you're going in the wrong direction, right? So this kind of goes back to like the Bertrand Russell's thing. Like this is where like having bigger context, zooming out, being able to see the bigger picture is important, and understanding like, am I actually making progress towards the thing that I want to do? And if not, then continuing to do the same thing is unlikely to help you get where you want to go. And for TFT, I think in this context, how to improve at TFT, a lot of that is like question your methodology. And for I think most people, it's a lot of times it's studying more than playing, and that's also why I'm building out TFT Dojo. Stephen Covey said, "We must never become too busy sawing to take time to sharpen the saw." And I've talked about these ideas a lot. I just need to revisit them from time to time because when I don't, I lose sight of the bigger picture and I lose the context, and I fall back into the trap of just sharpening or sawing with a very dull blade. Right? Like the story of like the guy that goes into the forest, two guys going into the forest, one guy, only saws for a little bit and goes home, takes a long break every day, versus the guy that's just sawing over and over 24/7. Like the guy that goes home and sharpens the saw is going to cut down more trees in the long run, right? And so really making sure that you see the bigger picture and make sure your saw is sharp. I've talked about this before, whether that's making sure you get enough sleep, making sure you're eating well, making sure you're exercising. Those things apply to anything that you do, whether that's TFT, whether that's in your career, whether that's in school. And then also within TFT, sharpening your saw is studying. It's really taking a step back, because the amount of things that you can learn in a single game, a 35, 40-minute game, is significantly less than what you can learn by studying. Whether it's, that's why I'm creating TFT Dojo, to be able to like rapid fire, not necessarily rapid fire, but in a more deliberate process, an efficient process, being able to process a lot more information, whether you're VOD reviewing, watching some YouTube videos, looking at X, like just being able to study and sharpening your saw is way more effective than just playing 24/7. All right, so that's the meta mindset, stability before speed. I'm going to lead into the coaching session where Broseph and I do some discussions on some questions I had about how to get better at TFT, how to study more effectively. Thanks for watching. Oh, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this meta mindset of balance, overthinking, excessive motion, how it applies to your life. I'm going to, again, try to do more of these. So the more positive feedback I get from you guys that this meta mindset is useful, the more likely I am to continue to do it on a regular basis. So with that said, thanks for watching. See you in the next one. So studying versus playing, one of the challenges I've had recently is that like I just got back from a bunch of vacations, so I didn't have that much time to play and qualify for trials. I would like to get to the point where I could still qualify for trials without that much time. And so I think I need to figure out a way to get way more efficient with how I'm approaching the game. Which probably just includes getting significantly better fundamentally, but I think it's also like how to improve my time efficiency. So with regards to, let's say for a specific patch and I need to make a snapshot and I can't really modify my fundamentals for that patch that significantly, how would you approach the studying like versus playing? Like when would you start playing, even though you maybe lack full understanding of the patch and execution for certain lines? Like where do you draw the line on like 80-20 rule or 70-30 rule? Like what's a kind of high level heuristic you would?
I start playing once I feel. I basically start playing after I'm confident that I know as much as I can before playing, basically. Or like maybe not as much as I can, but like obviously you can't practice execution stuff. And it'd be like a little bit cumbersome to like look through how people play different openers and like find a VOD in every comp. But like I always play a patch on my main account only after I have a strategy. So like I have the list of comps that I am going to play. I understand the basics of the comps, like what the boards are, what the items are, generally what the openers are. And only after that do I begin to play. And I'm always really excited to play after I do that because I feel like I have a grasp on what I'm doing. And it's very rare that if you spend that time actually preparing to play, that your read will be worse than your opponent's on average. Like it could be the case, but like no one else, like that early into the patch, no one else knows what they're doing either. So usually it goes well for me.
So how do you define confident in knowing what you're playing? Like, so part of it is the spreadsheet you put together, but also part of it is like understanding the nuances of when a comp is strong, like when you need to roll, when you like which augments are good, like do you have a full deep dive into all of that? Like are you VOD reviewing and like watching every comp before you play it? Like like, where do you draw the line?
Yeah, basically it doesn't go quite that deep. I will typically spend time spectating certain games, usually just top ladder games, to see what kinds of openers do well, and what kind of situations like certain comps do well, and try to notice patterns there. But beyond that, I'm not like extensively going through comp. I'm not extensively going through comps, and like knowing exactly how to play them yet before I play.
Okay, so then when you do start playing and then you maybe notice in the course of a game that like, oh, I don't exactly know how to navigate this spot. Like I remember I think you were playing like a Shadow Isles game and on the roll down and on 4-2 or whatever in stage 4, you're like, oh, I don't know exactly how to handle this roll down. Like, how or when do you then go through the process of refining your knowledge of the execution of individual comps? Like, do you have a second round of research that you do or studying, or is it more iterative after going through like a failed spot or misunderstanding of a specific line that you then like just for that specific line kind of do some specific research?
Yeah, it's fair. It's at least iterative in that I'll go through the mistakes I made in the game, but also I've kind of set up a system to cheat it a little bit. So it's in short, I begin playing on my alt account because if anytime there's a new patch, the snapshot games for ladder snapshot, I not only have to do a snapshot for like the cup, but also for ladder like consistent ladder performance.
Mhm.
I always do all of them. Or actually, I got kind of an exception this time around. Actually, I think I would not play my actual snapshot games until I had a reasonable idea of like playing through the comps I want to play. So like I would play through the comps I want to play on my alternate account that I've leveled up a bit, and I would learn the comps through playing it on that account rather than risking the LP on my main account, which if you don't average a 3.8, you just lose LP pretty quickly. So yeah. But I'm still playing, but having those things separated helps helps you like not be afraid to like try things and learn and like specifically try to learn particular lines to gain knowledge of them to be played when it matters, like either on the snapshot account or in a tournament.
So let's say I don't have the time to level up an alt account to the same elo.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
how valuable do you find playing with like a lot worse opponents?
It's still okay. I think like for playing a line, it's still okay. Obviously, you won't get punished for your mistakes, but I think like in my eyes, climbing for snapshots, especially efficiently, is all about quality. Like averaging a 3.4 over 20 games is better than averaging a 3.8 or 3.9 over 50 or even like 80 games. Like having what does that average out to? That's like a half a placement over the course of a lot of games. It's like every 10 games, how many placements do you have to swing? You have to swing. You basically have to throw one less game, basically. Like one game that is like a bot two, you turn it into a top two, or like you top four two more games probably. And because because that's the way that like the numbers kind of work out and how well you need to play. I think that like getting practice on an alternate account works okay for like learning comps, for example. And then also being like really focused on like really being locked in when playing for snapshots and trying to not play too much and like play when you're super tired or something like that also helps as well for like getting your best average possible on the important account.
Okay, so would you suggest that I do an alt account ranked or just play normal to like play a new line I'm not familiar?
Normal is way worse. Normal is way worse. Like normal, half the people aren't even playing that. I don't know how many games would you expect to be able to play on a on a patch on the alternate account.
I mean, when I'm not on vacation or with family extended periods of time,
Yeah.
I'll have more time. But I would like to get to the point
Right.
where when I'm on vacation, I could do this too, which means like probably I could play something like. Well, it also depends how I'm splitting that time between studying and playing. But let's say I can play something like 5 games a day.
Yeah. In your spot, I would probably just play on the account, like the main account, and then when you don't have so much time, I'm not sure what the solve is here, other than like I assume like you're pretty thorough about like making game plans on like playing and stuff while you play. Is there something that you feel is like additionally missing? Because I feel like not to give a useless answer, but I feel like the part that probably is missing, or like the part that you would want to fill, is the experience part, and get an idea of like getting like trial runs at certain comps, and then figuring out like which ones you have like deficiencies in, and like researching or looking up like certain players playing those comps, looking through how to play them. That kind of stuff would be helpful. If you have less time, I would say that for the comps that you believe are good, I would really try to watch someone good play them. Like any of like the TPC players who perform reasonably well, like high challenger players. Like you can watch them play a line and try to gather up, or like just ask them like what are the important things that they're considering.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And when you are going through your study process, like Is there anything that you're doing besides Meta TFT replay library, VOD reviews, whether that's group or solo, stat analysis, like just looking at the data? What else falls in the category of your study process, and how are you splitting your time between these categories?
Yeah, VOD review is like VOD review. I kind of just boil down to doing it between games, but between the games I play now. But if I was actively working at like improving execution, okay, yeah, okay. One, every game I try to like comb through the fine details of my own game. Usually that doesn't take more than 6 to 10 minutes, which means it doesn't take more than like 20% of like playing time on a game. Secondly, if I feel like I made a major mistake, I'll usually ask someone that I think is reasonably good at the comp, like usually one of my friends, to look over the spot and see like what they would do differently. Even if they're not actually the good at that comp, I could get like a second opinion on what they think I could or should have done. If I feel like there's something that went wrong, but I don't know how to process what the right answer is, that's what I'll do. That's like kind of rare, but in the moments where I do it, it's like very helpful. It's every 5 comps I learn, I feel like I do that like once per 5 comps, which means that is like kind of rare as well. The thing that I spend a lot of time doing, and like the thing that you would dedicate a larger chunk to, would just be like not passively watching people's VODs, but I usually have like strong players like streams playing when I'm not like streaming myself or coaching. I have them playing, and if possible, I have two playing, and I watch for things that are interesting that I don't know how to play. Like if they're playing a comp that I don't know how to play, I'm gonna like tune in and like watch that one attentively and go through the decisions that like I think I would do. This would like be live. It could also be done in a VOD as well, which sometimes I do, especially if only one like strong player is playing. You can just play the second one on a VOD and see when the interesting thing comes up. I know like a few other people do this as well, and this like I think reasonably takes up a third of the time versus playing. I view like everything before this in terms of like stat analysis and yeah, other than like stat analysis and like VOD reviews and whatever, that stuff like has like their own blocks. But in terms of how you balance playing versus studying, like this is probably where the studying is like one part to 2 parts playing of like time that you can allocate to generally improving for me.
Okay. When you say you go through the details of your own games for something like 10 minutes, when do you do that? Is it because I think
It's
you
just my
just queue
queue
it
is like
up,
6 minutes long.
Oh,
Yeah, I
okay.
queue it up and my queue is like 6 minutes. So like if the queue is not 6 minutes, like I'll literally like go through and like if I feel like I don't know the answer yet, I sometimes decline. But I'll sit there and like look like and figure out why I bought for it, right? Like what could I have done differently to do better? Yeah, what could I have done differently in that game to do better? Pretty much.
Okay. So I also try to do this, but sometimes when the queue pops, I'm like, fuck, I need to
Accept
make
the
up
game.
for it. Yeah, I'll just accept it and be like, okay, I'll let it go. So like how do
No,
you
I
how do
do not.
you yeah. That's the mental part, right? Like what do you say
Yeah,
to
it's like,
yourself, or like what do you tell yourself to like be able to get into the habit?
bro, if I get in the spot again, I need to know what to do. Like the spot, like it's probably useful to like literally quantify. It's probably helpful. I don't do this, but I would imagine it'd be helpful to literally quantify what the spot was, right? So like I have like I made 10. I have a weak Slayer opener. I have sword, whatever. You list the components. Like I have not a clear slam, or like I have these components, and then my augments don't clearly help me win, or like I didn't see like I saw these augments, right? You need to know. You need to know. But it'd be good to, before you played another game, it would be good to know what augment you were supposed to pick, what line you were supposed to lean, and what item you were supposed to make, if one at all.
So when
Basically, the
you're
dojo stuff, to be honest.
yeah, when you're using this stuff, it's usually 2-1 that you're analyzing.
2-1, yeah. Like, or like if there's like a different mistake somewhere else, to me, it's like for my own games, if there's a different mistake, it's usually easy for me to feel when I've messed something up really badly because I just like either don't have enough gold or I'm just not powerful enough or something like that. I can like look through like if I feel like the problem was like some other point in the game, then I'll look through it. And usually actually I start at the end and go back. And usually I don't notice like a major issue until the beginning of the game where like you're setting up your where you're setting up your game. Yeah, like usually like I'm like the level here is like not a big deal. Like the augment here is fine. Maybe the augment was bad. I just watched Cam play a game where he like started at the end and realized where he started at the end and realized that on 4-2 he probably shouldn't have picked max build because he's not likely enough to get good value out of it. And then he decided that in that spot next time he's supposed to click something else.
Okay. So you're usually looking at the very big macro decisions, specifically working from the backwards from the end of the game, augments, maybe
Yeah.
like what your item quality looks like.
Yeah,
And
it's like augments, roll timings, and items. Like I feel like sometimes you just feel like the items got fucked, and then if and then you look back to see if you could have done anything about it, right? If you could have done if you were supposed to do anything to mitigate the chance of the items being bad.
okay. And do you like write it down? Do you trust yourself to remember it? Like, do you review your prior mistakes on a consistent basis?
Uh I kind of just have it in my head. Uh but I think it'd be a good idea to write it down. Uh yeah. I think it'd be a good idea to write it down. I feel like I can reliably like recall the kinds of mistakes I make and like understand that spot better in a way that carries over into the next game.
Okay. And then what percentage of, okay, I guess one first question is, are you doing this for every game, literally every game, even games that you win? Or is it just for
Uh,
top fours?
yeah, if it feels like I lost placements, I try to identify where that happened.
Okay. And then they're gonna ask. Lost my stream of thought. Okay. For this one, where
Mhm.
you're watching player streams, this is
Yep.
after you've done this and then you're doing this in while you're waiting for queue, or this is like a separate process?
This is like a daily thing. So like when I'm less busy, I and like focused and like highly focused on improving. It's like you play for like 4 to 6 hours or so and you try to watch for 2 to 3. And like that's how I split my time.
Okay. And do you prioritize one first and then the other, or like have you noticed patterns there, or you just whatever you feel like?
Um the way I have my schedule set up right now, it kind of works out that I play first and then I watch in the afternoon or even evening.
Mhm.
Um but I imagine it'd be a little bit better to watch first then play. To like get ideas of like things that you want to try to like practice or learn
Yeah.
in your session.
I feel like I've experimented with both as well. And when I do too much studying before I play, I just get tired. And then when I'm playing, especially later, I just like am not on top of my game. But then playing first and then studying, I feel like I'm missing out on stuff.
Yeah, I mean there's got ups and downs, right? Mm, tired.
Or this includes like if I might be playing at night, like especially
Yeah, yeah,
after I
fair.
have to like put my kids down and
Do a
like
bunch of
deal with
yeah,
them throwing a tantrum, like random
yeah,
stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah. Makes sense. You could like, hmm, mm, it might make sense to alternate, but it's probably just like play. It's probably just like play fewer games and then study after, I guess, or like s- or like watch a bit and then play a bit and then if you like feel when you feel too tired to play just like go back to studying or something would
Mhm.
probably be reasonable.
Okay. And do you ever feel like, I mean, I guess you're just 24/7 TFT, but do you ever feel like you're basically starting to play despite not being able to catch up on some of the top streamers that you want to watch?
Like catch up on like their skill or catch up on their information?
Information. Like, I guess specifically early in a patch. Or in that situation, are you just not playing?
What would I do in that spot? I would probably spend like if I was in that spot where I felt significantly behind, and I felt like there was something like wildly large things wrong with what my strategy is, but like I just felt behind. I would just not play and like only focus on like gathering information on what your strategy should be.
Okay. The tough part is with limited amount of time.
Yep.
If I'm spending, I sometimes don't know. Like maybe it could take me the whole first week of a patch to gather information to get to the point where I feel like I fully understand it.
Mhm.
Then it's like I just don't have that much time to play to make a snapshot.
Yeah. If I mean, I guess it would just be like you just, at that point you're just trying to EV max, right? Like LP EV max. Because I think like only playing doesn't EV max it, but like having not enough games to like exercise or like gain your LP is also not ideal as well, right?
Yeah.
So it's like find the point where you feel like it's good enough, and then start exercising EV by playing. I think.
Okay. A related question to that is like, let's say after up like this weekend, like I know you were like doing the live stream, so you're kind of on top of it, but I did not
Yep.
get that much time to watch. Um,
Yep.
like, how do you think about VOD reviewing a bunch of the games to like kind of catch up, versus like also there was a consideration of like, well, the meta could also change from the tournament result as well. Like, how do you balance that? And like, what's your process for post cup? Kind of how deep of a dive you would go into the tournament like VODs?
Mm, I think like one of the useful things to do is like day after try to skim through a few people, like two, three, four, or like depending how much time you have, skim through all of their openers specifically and see what they're electing to play and what they're electing to hold and why, and like what they're trying to play into and what perhaps conditions are they're dependent on, what augments they like to click, etc. If there's a point where like you don't know, where you feel like you don't understand what the thought process is, you would keep watching deeper into the game until you can figure out what the plan was or what the idea of how they're playing the game is. But like for example, I was like in person at Worlds, VOD reviewing with some of the players, and then like what was pretty common is of the 6 games that a player played, like 4 of them you would just go through really fast. You're like, oh yeah, this is an X spot. You would look through it really quickly. How do they place? Yeah, it makes sense. And you go next. And then when like it looked like they were doing something, or it looked like the game plan wasn't so clear, that's when it would be particularly helpful to go through, because that's how they're navigating like more difficult spots, and what they're trying to steer towards. Because those hard spots are the ones where you have more agency to like angle it into something that is both good or also angling it into something that is bad. Because like if the spot is clearly good for something, either you picked it correctly or you just blundered it away, and then either you won or you were screwed, or like you just either worked out or it didn't, basically.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And how would you, I guess more broadly, keep track of meta evolution, not just in a tournament, but across a patch? Like, how do you think about switching from exploration to exploitation, and then maybe keeping a pulse on whether things are changing to be like, oh, I need to go back to studying or exploring mode?
Um, the exploitation thing is just like play like you'll get a set like at the start you'll like get a sense of like what you'll get a sense of what the good comps are, and you will play them and they'll work out well because like they're good comps. And then you just notice that, or like for me, I noticed that like playing my normal like lean results in getting into bad spots because of how other people tend to play. And then that's when you want to lean away from doing those kinds of things or playing towards that line when your opener isn't as good. So, for example, like on the last patch, I ended up in a few bad Yunara spots in a row because there's just 4 people playing it. And while I felt like they maybe should have played something else because my spot was like marginally better, you can angle toward what I can do is I can change how I value my holds and angle them towards something else. Obviously, if you got one of the good spots, like the best spot in the lobby for it, you would like cleanly roll everyone in the entire game because your spot is the best for it. But if you didn't, or if your opener wasn't that good, noticing that or like recognizing as you're making the holds that like this opener is not so strong because of how other people play and adjusting was what gave me edge in the last patch a lot, I think.
Okay, so this kind of connects with what you were talking about with this process where you go back and you're like, okay, this pattern. So how often do you do this process and then you're like noticing the same pattern? Not exactly the same spot, but like I guess
it's not so common. It's also not so it's not so deliberate. But like one thing that like I like do sometimes is like go into my match history and look back at what people actually played and figure out like what's the right adjustment because of it. So like if you look back and like some games have 3 or 4 Bilgewater, then you are probably not supposed to play it particularly if you're if you don't have the bilge early or like you're supposed to essentially be more willing to play other openers when the spots are good. Like especially like on this patch, like win streak invoker openers or win streak what else? Like win streak Ionia openers. Like you can take those over like trying to find the Alawi or trying to force bilge on like a lower component opener when you don't have the proc on 2-1 or like when you can't make the graves right away. Those are the kind of situations where you like adjust away from playing something that is being played more than it should be.
Okay. Blah blah blah. Oh, how would you think about fundamentals? Like, I think a lot of what I've been working on with you even has been a lot of patch specific stuff. How do you think about improving fundamentals in a more deliberate way? Like, is it mostly by doing this? Or do you have like a more, I don't know, specific process on how you think about improving fundamentals?
Yeah, it's like the game is, if your eyes are sharp, the game's kind of nice to you in that at least like it's the process of being very deliberate about trying to notice when your spot gets worse. It's like kind of like evaluating positions in chess. It's like the same. It's like a similar thing in TFT. Like the moment like you level and then like you lose a bunch, or like you notice that like you're poorer than you should be, or that you don't have any money, or you're not strong enough when you think you should be strong, or when you like lose streak or you get snapped or whatever. Like whenever you notice that like your spot has gotten worse, it's then important to like figure out why. And in like the early to mid game, that's almost certainly because something fundamentally was done wrong, or you got very unlucky. But most of the time, you got something wrong. And how to improve it in a deliberate way, and like going back and knowing like what the kinds of decisions are is very useful. So for me, like what are the most what are the most normal kinds of mistakes? One, you leveled at the wrong time. You committed items or an item when you shouldn't have, or you make the wrong item because it's not good for the line that you're making it on, or something like that. Also, what else? Like picking the wrong kind of augment is like very, very, very common. like knowing like it's knowing like being able to work on identifying when you should want an econ augment versus a combat augment versus an item augment is like very important. And I find like more often than I think I even realize, picking the right class of augment is more important than picking the stronger AVP augment even. And it surprises me, in fact. Yeah. Um, that's the other kind of thing. And then like roll timings or holds tends to be like a larger mistake that people make. This happens a little bit later, like stage 4, where you don't hold as wide as you should, or you don't you don't hold. There's a few key units you don't hold is like fairly common, or like you roll too much when you shouldn't be rolling, or you rolled on the wrong turn, because there are like some games that aren't that rare where you're supposed to roll on 4-5 instead of 4-2. I was in one of those games earlier today, and I think the game would have gone much worse if I took the default option of just rolling on 4-2, because I wouldn't have enough gold to get what I want or to hit what I want. But more importantly, I wouldn't have had enough gold to justify getting off the board that I had, which is fairly common as well. So like I had like a fairly upgraded like 3 build Nautilus GP Legion of Threes board where like the units were pretty strong, and to get the other board would be kind of expensive because I didn't have that many of the higher cost units. So delaying it was very important in that spot.
Mhm.
So like focusing on like the different classes of mistakes, and like perhaps even like focusing on them one at a time, if you notice that one of them is like the most common kind of mistake that you make, is probably very good to do. So like just like having a day or like having a time or like a week even where you like only focus on making sure like you're like every game your level on 2-1 is correct. And you can kind of do it chronologically too. If I were to like make a boot camp, it would be like chronological. It'd be like all right, step 1, did I correctly level or did I level correctly, or did I not level correctly? You know what I mean? Did I make the correct decision on 2-1 about leveling? Did I make the same one correct decision on leveling on 2-5? Same on and like did I make any major leveling mistakes later into the game? Focusing on that, then it's like before that even might be like, did I pick a reasonable line? You don't even have to pick the right line. You don't have to pick the best line. Did I pick a reasonable line that did not blunder my game away? Is like pretty is like a good thing to go over. Perhaps even before level timing. Those are like both important. What else? In chronological order, did I make the right item? Or like did I make the right item decision? So sometimes you actually aren't supposed to commit something. Those are like those situations are like very complicated, but usually like, did I make the right item? What else on top of that? Did I make the right item? Then it's like, did I take the right component off of carousel? That's like pretty common as well. Did I take the right component off of carousel? And like within that question is like, did I prioritize the right goal for taking that component? So sometimes you are supposed to like go for the bits of your unit, but more often you're supposed to complete an item right now because it's strong and it allows you to win. On 3-2, the kind of decision you want to make, on 3-2 it's like did I pick the right augment? And whenever like these item sets come up, like on 3-1 or 4-1, like you want to review like this would go in the items part probably. Did I make the right items on 3-1? Did I make the right items on 4-1? Did I make the right items on 5-1? That's probably a part of its like own class as well, that you would want to look through in its own group. And then the other thing is like, did I prepare? Like the last thing is like on executing on turns where you have a lot of inputs to do, and looking over like if you set those things up properly, did you run through the right checklist in your head? Were you aware of the different things that you were supposed to hold, and did you sell the right units off the board before you began rolling to make the roll down easier? Optimizing for that and making sure you maximize for your ability to execute is also a different thing that you'd want to consistently do if you notice that you had trouble doing those things.
Um, okay. think that answers most of these questions. Okay, let's say I have identified a weak spot. Let's say it's whether it's I not open selling the correct units ahead of my 4-2 roll down, or maybe I've identified a weak area in my item slams. How do you go about creating a process to improve and fix that leak?
Mm, I guess for me, it's like mostly iterative. Like I make sure that when I spot the mistake, I understand I figure out what I'm supposed to do, and I understand why I'm supposed to do that. Yeah, it's what else would I do? And then when I play another game, if I notice that happens again, you run through the same process again because the reason is probably a little bit different.
Okay. Okay. That answers that question. How do you balance long-term learning versus short-term snapshots versus fun? Like where does fun fit into your equation?
I might be the wrong person to ask. I have fun winning. I if I jam the same comp over and over and like just played perfectly and like rigidly the entire time, I feel immensely rewarded for playing the best strategy and playing it well, even if it's not quote unquote novel. And I think is like the main thing that like we're getting at probably. I know that not all people are the same in that regard. I don't even find playing like different new comps like particularly fun on my alternate account in and of itself. I like that's not necessarily true. Like some games where I feel like I played really well in like difficult spots and like comps that I don't get to play often, like those are fun. But I would be like perfectly content executing out and like getting better and improving at getting the best result out of my snapshots and like ladder performance, I think.
Okay. Actually, this one doesn't really apply since there's a sub-regional now.
Mhm.
What's your process to reset after you go through like a bunch of buff 4s in a row?
My process is to stop playing and study probably. Like I've had that happen before. It's like look like something is for sure wrong, right? Like it's either like I don't understand a comp or like it's either that or like ask for help on like what I'm doing wrong on in like certain spots. So it's like either my strategy is wrong or I don't understand something about a comp or like I'm tired and like I like miss things that like I wouldn't normally miss when not tired. And in all of those situations, it's like stop playing, and then try to like figure out what the issue is. Like and like it's kind of sometimes to me at least it's obvious which of the three it is, right? Like either I like made the wrong decision here and I don't because the result was bad. I'll ask someone like what should you have done and how do you think through it. Or like I'm just like fundamentally you just end up prioritizing the wrong units. You just end up prioritizing the wrong units early game, or like either the wrong units or the wrong line selection is like very very likely to be the reason. Like that's probably by far the most likely reason why you go into like a slump because you don't hold properly. You hold in a way that is significantly worse than how your opponents are holding. And like selecting lines.
Okay, I gotta get unit holds into TFT Dojo.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's all the questions I have. Is there anything in relation to all of this stuff, given that you've been working with me for some time now,
Yep.
that you feel like
Mhm.
just specific to my scenario that stands out to
Mhm.
you on what I can improve at this like kind of more macro level?
Um, do you always click roll? I'm not even kidding. Do you always click roll?
No, I used
Okay.
to use my keyboard, and then what would happen is I would
Sell by accident?
yeah, I would make mistakes through keyboard a lot, especially on like massive roll downs. I would just skip units that I needed, so I started click rolling to slow down.
Okay. I have you seen like the thing that Weijin does or like
Oh yeah, like the
even
little
Chinton?
up and
The
down.
hover. Yeah, the hover, yeah.
The thing is, I'll like press D, and then I
Mm-hmm.
might do that, but then I'll like double click D sometimes by accident.
Double click D. Oh man.
Do you feel like my roll downs
Okay.
seem very obviously slow?
I mean it's not it's like it when I watch it, it feels like a limitation. But I don't know if like the D key would be better in the long term. Like one thing I've like not swapped off of on yet, which I know I should, is like the scouting setup. So there's this like that's just as an example. It's not that relevant to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, consider the D roll also relevant in your situation. I think I had this issue last set actually. I think there's a good chance your ratio of studying to playing doesn't include enough playing. Like even with like lesser time is like maybe when you should be playing some more because mm,
That's what I
when it really
did during
yeah
vacation, and I felt like I was just
mhm,
banging my head against the wall.
I see. Did you hmm
I was not studying that much, so I was playing more. But
okay so you would still want to study I actually don't have a good what is your like if you're not on vacation right what is your approximate ratio of like studying versus playing.
I would say probably 60% playing, 40% studying.
Okay. I was 60% studying, 40% playing for a while, and that didn't feel good to me. Um, hmm. Yeah, I see.
What are you at now?
Uh, it's like 70-30 or 60-40, yeah.
In which direction?
Playing more.
Okay. But I mean, you're when you're coaching, you're kind of studying in a way, no?
Yeah, it's like I'm thinking through all these things, right? And like I'm like reinforcing my ability to like identify situations where I shouldn't be leveling and like refining that and like the coaching stuff, like refining that is like reasonably helpful. I think I also get shown like a bunch of different situations, and I'm like I am being forced to figure out what I am supposed to do, in like spots that are difficult, and like and like having time to think about it. It's like doing VOD review, um, by myself over like some difficult spots, which is
Mm-hmm.
like a different kind of ability to like learn and prepare or not different kind of ability it's a different setting and it counts towards preparation I think.
Okay. Okay. Maybe if I could do this process more, this thing, and like if I have a bunch of bot fours going back to studying, then I could just lean more towards the play ratio and then like having more kind of on demand lean heavy on studying when there's some gap.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Anything else that jumps out, or we could do some TFT Dojo?
Yeah, we can I don't think there's anything else. Is
Okay.
there a way and on like my client to get the most recent puzzles and like filter for that, or is it just gives you the ones that you haven't done in order?
It always gives you the most recent that you haven't done.
Oh, okay, and the most recent batch is just from the 6th.
Wait, let me see if is it from the 6th? No, I think some of the dates might be buggy right now because Virtual
Oh, the
said
dates
he.
are buggy. Oh, okay.
I'm
Because
pretty
like
sure
I remember
Virtual said he just posted some today, right? Yeah.
okay, yeah, I remember it being like yesterday or 2 days ago, and it was showing that like it was like PBE patch, and it was like from the 6th. I'm like, I don't know if this is accurate to like what we should be doing right now.
Oh shit. Hold on. Today's I'm pinging Virtual now.
Yeah,
Puzzle dates effect showing one slash. Virtual just told me that he just implemented community stats, so I don't know if that's live yet.
interesting. Okay.
So now we'll be able to see what everybody else's decisions were.
Ah,
I
okay.
don't think
They've
rank splits are in though.
fair enough. Is it live right now?
That's what you said. So let's find out.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna also do rank splits later, and I think that's probably where we're gonna charge, and then
Yep.
at least support the site, because right now we're probably spending like, I don't know, a non-trivial amount of money to get these puzzles every day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, makes sense.
All right. Let's see, what do we got here? Howling Abyss. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was from yesterday, is my guess.
Mhm.
I would, although I feel like there's been people taking a lot more item augments early because they want to streak early, but this is not a
Yep.
very good one, right?
It's okay. It is an item.
I probably roll left, roll middle. Like, what are you trying to play with this now?
Like nothing.
Yeah. So I roll left too, and then probably lean slam in.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh shit. Oh wait, we have rank splits too. Oh nice.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh shit. I like this.
One guy thought the spot sucked, and then so they took patient study.
Yeah. One downside of this model is if you're the first to do the puzzles, you don't get any information.
Yeah.
You need to figure out a way to handle that.
Hmm.
Okay. I think a lot of people have been taking this. Like, is this just easy to force Belveth from, or
It's good for Belveth, and the tank one is just a good tank item.
oh yeah, you could take the tank one. If you have a Scion, are you just
A good
forcing that?
tank. I don't think you're forcing anything like particularly Scion. Like you just if you have a good tank, you can lean towards it. It's like the Vow augment, but a little bit better. I'd imagine.
Okay. Oh, another thing that we're gonna do is I already have this, but I think we're gonna de-anonymize and allow you to go to the Twitch stream. Oh, this is not broken. So you can
The
actually,
Twitch stream.
yeah, go to the spot and watch it. The rest of the video.
Oh, that's all clear.
If Riot complains, then we gotta backtrack. But a lot of it will come
Okay.
down to whether players complain. So we're gonna offer the ability for
I see.
pro players to anonymize if they want.
Okay, yeah,
just
makes
like
sense.
in Riot Client, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. I feel like I would just default this.
Well, what are the units? Oh, yeah,
So you like Forge?
I think it's supposed to be unsealed.
Unsealed into. Are you taking the tank one, or are you taking?
You're supposed to see
into
what your shot flashes.
Oh,
If you see like Kiana 2, you for sure like just take Dark Imbo and it's probably Slam Starex. Otherwise, you probably still default that.
okay. Speedy
Not that
double
one.
kill. No, still this.
Yep.
I mean, you have perfect like items. You get QSS,
Yeah.
Direxis,
Cloak is
and then you just play Bilge through to get to Belveth.
Yep.
Okay.
Looks like we're the first ones here.
Yeah. All right. So Kiana is a pretty high value hold now that this Belveth line's more like playable.
Mhm.
With these items, seems kind of questionable. Not
Yeah.
right. Oh, we just run it back. Though these items aren't
Components are very different now. I would look around if it looks like the Demacia line's not being super contested.
You just slam
You would slam something and unlock Poppy and just buy the Poppy. Probably Arc. Arc is probably good.
line's clear, but it's not like we have a strong Demacia opener, but you're willing to play.
Well, you will with a Poppy too. It will be strong. It will be
okay.
strong.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Still left, I think. I would take left.
3 votes here.
Greater Moonlight.
No. That We put this in as a fake thing behind whatever Pengu picks,
Oh, I see.
in
Okay.
case you as the user roll it. So it's
Oh,
more.
it's not random. Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. This is unclickable now, right? That now that Diana is not a thing.
Yeah, it's very bad.
Okay. We have Void. How are you feeling about Kaisa Singed lately?
Depends a lot on the void mods.
Mm.
I have the tier list written like in my own sheet. But basically, like, I think the running opinion is that you really need Carapace. Like Carapace, and then like any offensive is whatever for Kaisa Rift.
Okay. Mm.
But like without that knowledge, I would just default Tactician's Kitchen.
Yeah.
Emblem is good. Fawn is good. That's what I do. I think the direction's still not so clear.
Wait, what? They took Azir.
They might be a beast.
Huh?
I assume the idea is they're just playing for Seraphine Azir. They'll like play soft strongest here, or like they'll just they won't play strong. They'll play strongest board until like they're strong, or they won't level, but like they'll just have their board. They won't level until they're strong enough. And then yeah, they get the Azir on 3-5, and they just cash out like they just play Azir Seraphine with a Nasus in the front probably because they're not gonna. It's not easy to win those 2 rounds without an augment.
Is there a? Do you play Singed with this board or no?
No, I don't. I don't think Seraphine boards by any means have to play Singed. They can, but they don't have to. And with Azir, you don't have the slots. I think.
Okay. It's just a build spot. Roll right to. Roll left. Default middle. I guess there's a bunch of good artifacts too, right?
I think right is better.
What's the thought process? Like, what are you looking for?
You're looking for Lich. Oh wait, they have even Shroud Slam.
Yeah.
It doesn't know. I mean, Lichbane and Shiv are both really good. Collector is very good. Up until the left were the good ones, right? Light Shield's always good. I guess Wits is okay. Yeah, those are the main ones.
This is also good, right?
That one's also very good.
But we don't have a 2-star tank.
We don't have a 2-star anything, so
Yeah, so just lean towards. Right?
if you don't want to gamble it, you take one. What would I take? I think with even shroud, I would take one. I would take one. Like you're trying to play for Graves or MF from this.
And in this spot, you unlock Graves. Are you rolling for a Lowy?
Not in 2-1, I think.
2-3. So you can hit any of them. Are you ever rolling on stage 2 anymore without free reroll?
No, sometimes you do. Sometimes you do. I don't. What's left on the left? So, we rolled it into this. I don't love rolling right away. I think you just want to wait for it. Yeah, I think you want to wait for it. You'll just like lose a bit, and then if you can grab anything off the first carousel, it's probably cool. The chance that you see an Alawi by then is pretty cool. Like the cost of rolling is very expensive, and the bard doesn't quite make up for it, especially in this comp.
Okay, so let's say you don't roll, you don't get a bilge off carousel. What's the game plan?
You don't roll. Hopefully, you hit the Ionia opener.
Okay,
Assuming the Ionia is reasonable.
So you're flexing between Ionia and bilge then.
Yeah, if you like keep hitting nothing, you take a cloak and you can try to play GP if no one's playing it. Like that, you're trying to angle any of those.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. So because you already have a tank slam, you like Spirit better. If you didn't have a tank slam, you would like Forge.
Might be Forge. That's why I prefer one. Forge gives I might be missing some options between like mittens or RFC for like Belva. Honestly, there's probably enough out. Like if you can count 5 good artifacts, then I think 3 is very good. Okay. If I had the Alawi, I think it would usually actually be 1 because it limits the number of like good comps you actually want to play. Yeah. So this spot without the Alawi, I take 3, and like if you get some other direction, it'd be good too.
Okay. Salvage also lets you play into GP more easily by remaking this into QSS.
You almost always want to even shroud as well, but yeah, that's true.
Okay. Well, lots of other people like Salvage.
Salvage.
Okay, we're just missing Nico. When are you slamming for Viego versus not on 1-4?
I think you might I think you might need a Viego slam. Like I think the best slam on Viego early is like QSS or something. Because it's acceptable in the comp, and it's like one of the best items you can have on the Viego, I think. That isn't griefed. Like it gives you attack speed, and like a little bit of crit, and that type of item doesn't really exist that's acceptable in the comp other than QSS, I think.
So,
but like it doesn't have to be QSS. It's like okay, what other options he has? Slayers. I think you can like pretty happily just slam spirit cloak and figure it out. I think.
because before I feel like you were saying if you could just slam any Callista items, you'd be happy to do that, like Shojin. You no longer think that's the case?
That would be fine as well. I think that would also be fine. I found the mid game power trough to be better if you have a QSS plus any of the like a raw AD or raw damage amp or an amp item on the Viego.
Okay.
Is what I've noticed. So I like prefer doing it in that case. But like this spot we like don't even have other things that we can play. We have 2 Milios, 2 Kianas. I mean, you're supposed to want to lean Slayers here, I think. Bar like something like Bar getting a Nico soon.
Right. So roll left. I feel like this is not bad too, right? But I guess you don't have 3 builds.
You all have 3 builds or 2 Alawis. Yeah, I think you're supposed to prefer
Or right out of these.
Bro, these are all bad.
How do you feel
I would
about
probably
Slayers from Lost Streak?
Not good with these units. Like I think there's like specific augments that are good for Slayers from Lost Streak. I think it's like Infinity Protection and like Comeback Story are good for it.
Right. Okay. What's your preference between these two? I feel like I would just roll middle.
I think I would have held one. What I would have held one and rolled both of the other two. I think you're just supposed to roll middle away. Like middle and then right. Okay, to be fair, this game is taken from. I know that this is the game where Weijin has to win because it's checkmate, which changes how you make your decision here.
Oh, okay, right. That's why he took this. Okay, now I remember it. Everyone knew that he took this.
Yeah, everyone knew that he took. Yeah, you take augmented power. Yeah, good one, man. To be fair, that one's not even a bad default actually. Now that one might be like generally correct. Now that I look at the spot.
What's the thought process?
You don't want to give up your 2 Ishtal, and you just don't want to give up your units. So you can't take 1 or 2 is the idea.
Right.
Like the thought process is Alawi is bad, and then you just hit like true garbage and you just take
Yeah.
augmented power. I think APAC player might flip the door on that one, on the right one. But if you're, I think under normal circumstances you would flip the right one, knowing that that's the better of the three. But like, sure, like on average you won't hit something worse. Like it's EV to flip it basically.
Mhm.
It's EV to look for like any item augment or like better econ augment than these two.
If you had an item slam, would you consider taking this?
No,
Okay.
our board is too bad. I've
Yeah.
seen it taken before in a good spot. Our board is too bad. There's not a front line.
Okay. All right. Last puzzle.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Another build spot. Although we
No, the
don't
film's
have.
fun. We don't have Alawi.
Yeah.
What's on the bench?
Uh,
Magma, the thing.
Void.
Okay.
All right. Roll right.
Don't know what the void is. Yeah.
We could do this into Slayer. I don't think it's this because we don't have a good tank.
Yeah.
And I assume we prefer this over this, but like maybe something's better. What would we prefer here? Econ? Like
I mean,
Epic.
unskilled. Yeah. You want to see rolls. You want to see rolls somehow.
Trade sector or Epic would be preferred, so we can roll for build.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I think
roll
because
left.
of that, it's fine to default 3 to get 2 rolls for that.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Especially
Okay.
oh, that one's good enough as well. Yeah. I would just take that no matter what this spot, I think.
They took Darkin. Interesting. So Darkin's probably just gonna be Slayer, I assume.
Yeah, I think so.
And if we go,
I think.
Mhm.
I was gonna say for me personally, it would be very rare that I skip too much value on this patch. I think. I think
Ideally,
it's
if we
like,
didn't have a slam, it would be Echo, right?
yeah.
Or
You can
Ishtal reroll.
It's literally trade sector for in this spot.
Yeah. Or you could just saying it could
So
be anything.
bilge.
It doesn't have to
It just
be.
build. It just
Oh,
build.
it
Like
just
this spot,
builds.
you just level for the grades and it just builds. Yeah.
And you don't care about maximizing the 2 cost or like having full value on that. It's just
No,
worst
I
case,
would
it's
level.
trade sector. Oh yeah,
Or
yeah.
like yeah. So later into the game, you don't care. Yeah.
But like once you get bilge in, you can't get 4
Yeah, you don't
2
drop.
costs.
You can't get 4, but you're always getting 2.
Yeah. Okay. So you're okay with that just be reverting to trade sector and not like if you play
Yeah.
Echo, you can actually get full value, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then this one is just Belveth.
Yep. I think so.
And if you play this one to Belveth, are you trying to get Void in early? Or it doesn't
If
matter?
you take that one, you might literally be taking either Darken Bow for Graves or the tank one as well.
If you take
Just to
the
have as
tank
much
one,
combat power as possible. Yeah.
tank one into
It,
what?
you just put it on your tank. That's it. It's just a tank item. But I think Darken Bow will be better. You can just put it on Graves and then you figure it out. I think that's probably the most salient line. Like you take this, you try to play Slayers. If you can't, playing Bilge is fine, and you're just playing off Darken Bow.
Actually, I need to double check with virtual, make sure that if you redo the puzzle, it's not changing your vote.
It looked like it was, or maybe someone just did it during the time that we saw, because it looked like when we did it twice. Did that go up? Oh no, it didn't. Oh, okay.
No, it didn't change. Okay, cool.
Maybe you can't see your own vote. Perhaps I don't know. But if you can't see your own vote, then it doesn't change it. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Oh no, it did change it. Okay.
Oh, that's not good.
Okay.
Yeah.
We said
That
this
one.
Unless someone literally just did it.
Yeah.
No. Okay, it changes it. So I'll talk to him about it.
Okay.
All right, cool. What do you think of these stats, by the way? How useful or not useful do you find it?
They're fun to look at. No, they're good to look at, I think. Like I would see like a crazy split and then post it on Twitter or something.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
would be
what I
interesting.
think would be cool is eventually we get more tier 1 players on here, and then we get to see the tier 1 player.
Yeah. That would be very cool. Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for the coaching session.
No problem. Best luck on your climb. I'll catch you around.
Yeah, take care. Bye.
All right, you too. Bye.